Okay, great. So, as we have already discussed, for loop comes under the entry controlled process. So, what is the entry control process? Once again, we'll just have a quick revision. That is, before executing the body of the loop, okay, the condition is going to be tested, and only if the condition is true or if the condition is satisfied, then the loop is going to get executed for us. So, that is what we call as an entry control loop, and this cycle will be repeated until the condition becomes false. So for comes under the entry controlled loop, and for can be implemented in two ways. Okay, so there are two ways in which I can actually make use of my for loop. One second, guys. Yes. So one is the traditional for loop, and the other loop is called as a for each loop. Now, this for each loop is available for us from JDK version 5 and above. So this loop was first introduced in the time of JDK 5. So from the version 5 and above, now we are in 19, so long way gone. So from those versions onwards, this type of loop is also available for us. Right. So now in this session, we are going to be focusing on our traditional for loop. Okay, we will discuss about the for each loop during our session of arrays. So there is another upcoming topic next. We'll be discussing on the concept of arrays. So at that time, I will be telling you how to make use of this loop. So now we'll go with the traditional for loop. So what is the basic syntax? How am I supposed to create a for loop, or what is the basic syntax of a for loop? So for, which is our keyword, then I already told you, I hope you remember, every loop that I'm planning to create consists of three parts. So let it be any type of loop. So definitely any loop consists of three parts, which is nothing but my initialization, condition, and iteration. So this is the same concept we are going to be following in the for loop also. So in the for loop, for within the parenthesis, within the parenthesis, first comes my initial value. First comes my initialization, semicolon. Then comes my condition. Then again a semicolon. And then comes the iteration part. So with a for loop, all the three parts are given within the parenthesis itself. Now, after this, of course, we will have the open and close curly brace. Within that, we will be writing our code. So whichever code needs to be repeated again and again. See, the concept of loop is repeating a set of statements multiple times. So here, which statement needs to be repeated, that is going to be present within the curly braces, or what we call the body of the loop. Right, so this is how my for loop is going to be executed for me. So initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, iteration. Right, so how it starts? Initialization. Please remember, initialization will be executed only once. Will be executed only once. At the starting of the loop. Only once, then at the starting of the loop. So initialization will not happen every time. Only the first time when the loop is going to take its step, only that time initialization will be working. Okay, so once the initialization is done, where it is going to go? It is going to go to the condition. It is going to go and check the condition. So check the condition. Now, if the condition is true, if true, then what it will do? it will execute the body of the loop. So if this given condition is true, then whatever you have given within this curly braces, it is going to get executed for me. So when, if the condition is true, if the condition is false, if condition is false, then loop will be terminated. Loop will be terminated. That is, loop will be closed. It will not go inside at all. It will just go to the next set of statement following the loop. That is next line of code following the loop. Terminated, and the control will be passed to the next line of code following the loop. This is how it is going to get executed. So once the condition evaluation is done, then it is going to go to the iteration part. So remember, first time when the loop is running, initialization will happen first. After initialization, it will go to the condition. If this condition is true, it will execute the loop body. Once the loop body is executed, it will come back to the iteration. It will do the iteration. Iteration is nothing but either increment or decrement according to the condition. According to your condition, you're going to either increment or decrement some variables. So after this, it will not go back to initialization. Please remember, it will, after iteration, it will go to the condition. It will check again, okay, is it still true? If it is true, come inside, execute. Then again iterate. Then again check the condition. Then execute, iterate, check, execute. Like that, it is going to keep going in a loop, in a cycle. So that is how my for loop is going to get executed. Now, for example, let us say, for example, my program is printing Java programming some 100 times. This is what my task is asking me to do. So, what are the things I should do? How to do it with a for loop? We have already seen how to do this with a while loop, with a do while loop and all. So now, how am I supposed to do it with a for loop? So first thing is declare a variable. So this variable is like a counter variable. Like how many times the loop has got executed. To maintain that, I need one variable, that is this one. Now, this is my, now first let us declare this variable. Now start the loop for initialization or the starting value of x. Starting value of x is going to be 1, semicolon. Till where the loop has to run? 100 times. So until the x value is less than or equal to 100, the loop has to keep on running again and again. And every time the loop is running, x value has to be incremented by 1. First time it's going to be 1, then second 2, then 3, like that it's going to go. Now inside the body, what is that I want to do? I want to print. So write that statement. So say system.out.println. What is that you want to print? I want to print this. So give that and close it. That's it. That's it. So for loop is like the most simplest of writing the loops because everything is given inside this itself. So it makes my life very easy to handle. So now let us try to execute this. I'm just going to copy this code. Let me add the main method and then run this. There you go. Right. So execute this. See what happens. It's going to keep on executing 100 times. Now, how are we supposed to keep a count? Whether 100 times is done or not. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to print the value. So I'm saying x plus. Now let me run this. See what happens. I am printing the x value also. So see how it is getting printed. 1, 2, 3, 4 till 100. So now I know for sure 100 times it is printing Java programming. So a simple way of executing my for loop. So remember, when we are going to go for loops, whenever we want a set of statements to be repeated again and again. So for loop, how will we write the condition? Initialization, colon, condition, colon, iteration. Right, so this is the way of writing my for loop. Let us say a first example of writing my for loop. Right, now let us go for the next example. Let us try to understand this with a couple of more examples. So now, this is the task given to us. Read 10 numbers from the user and prints its sum. So I want to read 10 numbers. 10 times I have to ask the user, enter a number, enter a number, enter a number. And whatever number they are entering, I want to find its sum. That is, I want to add all the numbers and print the result. So this is what I am going to be doing. So now remember dynamic input. So for dynamic input, of course, I need my scanner class. So Java dot util dot scanner. Okay, then create an object of the scanner class. Okay, done. Now I'm going to use this x variable only. I'm going to make use of this x only. So inside this x only, I'm going to store the values. Now just let me create the sum. So starting value or the initial value of sum is 0. So how many times I said the loop has to go? 10 times. So from 1 to 10. Remember, inclusive. So less than or equal to 10. So 10 times the loop has to keep going. So every time the loop is running, what it should ask? It should ask my user to enter a number. So I'm saying enter a number. So whatever value the user is entering, I am going to store it inside my x. So I'm saying x is equal to yes dot next int of. So yes dot next int of. Now I have to find the sum of the number. So what I'm going to do, sum is equal to sum plus x. That's it. So now the loop is going to run 10 times, and every time when my loop is running, it is going to ask for a number, and that number is going to be stored with an x, and then that x's value is going to be added with the sum value. So now after coming out of the loop, print the value of sum. So I'm saying total is equal to plus sum. So remember, print it outside the loop. Do not print it inside the loop. If you print it inside the loop, see what will happen. If you have a print statement like this inside the loop, check out what is going to happen. Now let me run this. Okay, asking for the first number, right? Give. See? Sorry, I should not have used x. I should have used another variable. Because if I give the x value as 10, condition is gone. So x is a counter variable. I should use it only for that purpose. So my mistake. Yep. There you go. Now let me run this. So enter a number. See, it's giving me the total also now itself. Now again, enter the number. Enter the number. See how it goes. So 10 times it is asking me enter a number. But what is the problem I'm having here? The total is also getting printed 10 times. The reason is you are writing it inside the loop. So whenever you're going to write anything inside the loop, that is also going to get repeated again and again. So that is the reason I said some value, write it outside. So whatever result you're planning to print, so print the result outside of the loop. Now when I run this, so this is much more efficient. See what happens. Any numbers you can give. I'm just giving this so that it's easy for me to add. I will know whether the answer is correct or not. See, a simple execution of our for loop. So how the for loop works, this is a very, very simple example for that. This is my second example. You can take this as my second example for my for loop. There are certain important points you should know about the for loop. That is, we call this as the variations of a for loop. Okay, the variations of a for loop. So the first variation of the for loop says that we can also write the for loop in this manner. So can also be written like this. How? Int I is equal to 1 for I less than equal to 5. I'm going to say system.out.println I, let us say slash t, then I plus plus. Look at this format of for loop. So see here what I'm doing. Here, this is my initialization. This part is my initialization. This is my condition. And this is my iteration. I am breaking all the three. I am writing it like what I do for my do while loop or my while loop. This is also allowed for a for loop. So please remember for loop, general syntax what we follow is something like this. We will give all the three within the parenthesis in a single line. But it is not compulsory that every time you have to write like this. It actually depends on your requirements. So if you want, you can also write it like this. This is also correct. See, when I run it, okay, see, when I run this, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at the spaces in between. That is because of slash t. So I have made use of slash t. So since I have made use of slash t, it is giving that tab space. Horizontal tab space is given for us. So it is possible for us to write our for loop in this manner also. But the most important thing, even though we are writing like this, semicolon is mandatory. So even though we are breaking, okay, even though we are breaking the three parts and writing, semicolon is mandatory. Semicolon becomes mandatory in this situation. You cannot neglect the semicolon. I cannot say just because I'm writing the initialization outside, why I should put a semicolon here. No, that is not working. Okay, here whether you write it or not, semicolon must be there. Same way for the iteration. Whether you write the iteration here itself or whether you're going to write it here, the semicolon for separation is compulsory for us. Condition anyway you have to give here because it is an entry control loop. So while coming inside itself, the condition is going to be tested. So condition you cannot give anywhere else. Condition has to be placed here only. So this is another example for our for loop. So I can write my for loop in this particular manner also. Right. So let me give you this example. Now, the next point regarding for loop. Okay, the next point regarding for loop, what I should be knowing is semicolon at the end of the for loop. Semicolon at the end of the for loop. What is going to happen? What is going to happen in this scenario? What do I mean by this end of the for loop? Say, for example, I am going to write my loop like this int x. So then I'm saying for for x is equal to 1. Okay, x less than equal to 5, 10, whichever one you want, x plus plus. Inside this, I am saying system.out.println printing the value of x. This is my program. So when I run this, what is going to happen? Obviously, the x value from 1 to 10 is going to get printed. See? Yes, this is known. This is what we know. But what I'm saying is, if I keep a semicolon at the end here, what is going to happen? What is going to happen in this situation? See, it is not throwing me any error. Because if error means automatically here it would have showed some red color bulbs. So it is not there. So definitely not an error. That means my program is going to get executed. But what is going to come as the output? Any idea, any guesses? Can you tell me what will be the output?
Compilation error, ma'am.
Okay. One is a compilation error, others also. See, you can either tell me or you can ping in the chat, whichever is comfortable for you. But I want you guys to give some answers.
Consider that for loop also as a statement due to semicolon.
Okay. So what will be the output then? Yes, for loop as a statement, right? So what will be the output when I run it?
I think it's an error because it's checking that x value, but we are printing that x value, so it's not possible to run.
Okay. Let us execute it. See what it says. Please understand what is happening here. Initial value is here. Condition is also here. Iteration is also here. All the three parts are given here itself. And then I am closing the loop. When I close the loop, what do you mean by that? This semicolon is generally what we call as a statement terminator. That is to say, this line is over. So with this semicolon, what I am saying is this loop is over. Important point for you to understand, this block now does not belong to my for loop. This block now does not belong to my for loop. Why? Because for loop is closed here. So the block what I have created, I'm going to call this as a nameless block. Remember, this one does not belong to my for loop. Why? Because I have closed the for loop with a semicolon. So normally, what did I say? When the for loop completes its execution, where it is going to go? To the next line of code following the loop. Next line of code following the loop is, I have just created a block. That's all. So this loop does not have a body. This loop is a bodiless loop. This is a bodiless loop. That is, it does not have any statement to execute. So internally, the work is going to happen. X is going to be 1. 1 is less than 10. Condition is true. So nothing to execute. So automatically it will go for the iteration. X plus plus. So X will become 2. So then 2 less than 10, true. Then again plus plus 3. 3 less than 10, true. So like that it is going to keep on going internally until this condition becomes false. And when will this condition become false? When X is 11. When X becomes 11, it will say 11 less than equal to 10. Condition is false. So it will come out of this loop. So when it comes out of the loop, where it is going to come? This is the next statement following the loop. So it is going to come in here. Here it is going to print the X value. So what is the X value? Last X value given was 11. So that is the output of the program. So please remember, semicolon at the end of a for loop is possible. If you give a semicolon, this is how the loop will get executed for us. Right. One very, very important variation of my for loop is this one. Now, look at the next option. The next concept of my for loop deals with variable declaration. Deals with the concept of variable declaration. Okay. Now, here, let us say I am making some changes to this program. Okay, what are the changes I'm going to do? Let us reverse back to the older one. I'm reverting back to the older one. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm running it. Yes, working now. So instead of declaring it outside, I am going to declare it inside. I am going to declare the loop inside. Inside the loop, I'm going to declare this variable. Now when I run this, still the program is working fine. No error at all. Okay, now see what happens now. I am printing the value of X inside the loop also. I am printing outside. Once the loop is over, it is going to come to the next statement. The next statement also, I am printing the value of X. But when I do so, see what happens here. It says cannot find the symbol X. It's not able to find the symbol X. How is it possible? I have created X. I am making use of X here, X here, X here. But still, it is telling me that it is not able to recognize my symbol X. The reason is whenever you're going to declare a variable inside a loop, then what happens is it becomes a local variable. It is called as a local variable. It becomes a local variable. Now, what we have to understand is what is this local variable? So a local variable is a variable that is, so local variables are created inside of a block. Inside of a block. So the block can be either a function, or any loops, or any decision statements, if else. Inside if inside else, you can create it anywhere. Inside a constructor, okay, or inside, as I said, inside a constructor, and so on. So inside a block basically means within this opening and closing curly braces or within that parenthesis. So variables that are created inside a block is what we call as a local variable. Okay, the scope of the variable, that is accessibility. Who can make use of that variable? The accessibility, the scope of the variable is only within that block. That block in which it gets created. If used outside, if used outside the block, your compiler will throw an error. Compilation error will occur. So please remember, local variable means variables that are created within a block or inside of a block. Now, what is the speciality of these variables is they can be used only inside the block in which you are creating it. If you try to make use of it outside, it will generate a compilation error. And this is what is happening for us here. Since I am creating this inside this for, it is accessible only within this opening and within this closing of my for loop. So when I try to make use of it outside of the for loop, it is throwing me this error. It is going to throw me this error. So please remember, this is another very important point for us. So how can I solve this problem? Don't create variables inside. Don't create variables inside the loop. Create it outside of the loop. So now when I run this program, see, there is no error now. Why? I have created this X inside the main method. So within the opening and within the closing of my main method, I can make use of this X anywhere. Scope is what? Local. This is also local only, but it is local to my main method. So opening and closing of the main method, I can make use of this X anywhere. So that is why now it will not going to throw me an error. So this for loop is also present inside this main method only. This statement is also present inside the main method only. So you can very well make use of it. Right, so let me run this now. See what is the output I'm getting. So that is how we will be handling our local variables. So now this is the correct method. This is correct. It will be working perfectly for us. Okay, so this will throw us a compilation error. And this method will be working perfectly. Right, so these are some of the variations of my for loop that I should be knowing. Okay, and second thing, and another thing is multiple assignment and iterations. Multiple assignment and iterations are also possible. Now, what do you mean by this multiple? Now, look here what I'm saying. I am saying x is equal to 1, y is equal to 5. I'm saying x is equal to 1, y is equal to 5. Now, what is it I'm saying? As long as x value is less than or equal to 5. Okay, as long as the x value is less than or equal to 5 or less than 5, whichever way you want. I am saying x plus plus, comma, y minus minus. X plus plus, y minus minus. Now see what I'm giving inside. I am saying x is equal to y is equal to, what is the value of x? What is the value of y? And then I'm just going to say x into y. And I'm giving an empty print statement. Now when I run this, see what happens. First time x value is 1, y is 5. So x into y, 1 into 5, it is giving me 5. And next time x value is incremented, but y value is decremented. So 2 into 4. Next time 3 into 3. Next time 4, 2. Like that, it is going to keep on going. Suppose if I give here less than or equal to, it will include that value also. See? So multiple assignments and multiple iterations are also possible. All you have to do is separate it with a comma. Separate the value with a comma. Then you can give the statements like this also. This is also valid for a for loop. So as I said, one of the most flexible loops what we have is our for loop. That is the reason why it is used also in so many situations. Right. Next thing. So as I said, these are the variations of my for loop. Let me share you this. Use it as a reference when you're doing your programs.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we didn't decide the y value. You enter just y minus minus, but you decide the x value, x less
1
than
second.
5.
Y value
Sorry,
also
lesser
I have
than 5.
divided here.
Okay, ma'am. Y value,
So
okay. Y minus minus.
condition is our choice. Condition you can give anyway. If you want to give both the conditions, use an and. Use an and operator and give the condition another condition here. So that also you can add. But while giving condition, sorry, you have to make use of the logical operators. Okay, when you're going to combine two or more conditions, then you have to make use of the logical operators at that situation. So for these
Okay,
things,
ma'am.
logical operators is not required. You can just give a command.
X will be stopped 5 digits.
Yes.
But when the y stop, ma'am?
When
Y
this
minus minus,
condition,
which means 5, 4, 3. Y value is 5. Then
yes.
after
See,
one
when
loop,
this
4.
condition
After
is
one loop, 3.
satisfied, loop will come out, Ra. See, I'm not bothered about the y value. What I'm saying is when
Okay.
this condition is satisfied, come out. That's all. So till
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
whatever is the y value, keep on going.
Okay. 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 Okay,
Say,
ma'am.
for
Thanks,
example,
ma'am.
here I'm giving
Hmm.
10. If I'm giving 10, see what will happen. Y minus minus in the sense, y will be going to negative values.
Infinite,
So,
ma'am.
yeah, no, it will go to negative. See, until the x condition is satisfied. The loop will keep on
Oh,
going.
okay, ma'am. I understood, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, let me tell you about the next thing, what you should be knowing here. Infinite loop. The next thing, what you should be knowing here is our infinite loop. Infinite loop, as I already told you before, endless loop. So a loop which is never going to end, which is going to keep on running again and again. So when is a loop going to go to an infinite loop? When my conditions are not properly designed. Okay, say for example, I am giving something like this. I am saying int x, x is equal to, okay, x value is already given here, 1. So now I am saying x value is, or let us say the condition like this. I am giving the condition like this. See what happens. I am saying x is equal to 1. Okay. Now what is that condition I'm saying? 1 less than 2. Now when I run this, see what happens. It is keep on going. There is no end at all. Why? Because the condition is never failing. 1 is always less than 2. 1 is never going to become greater than 2. So this condition is always going to remain true. So it is going into an infinite loop. See? Still it is keep on going. So this is a situation you can see here. I can scroll down, check it out. Loop is still running for me. So that is an infinite loop. So when the condition is not properly defined, it will go to an infinite situation. Then remember what I told you in the while loop also. If the iteration is not given, if the iteration is not given, I'm giving here condition properly. Say x less than equal to 5. Condition is proper, but I forgot to give the iteration. I did not give the iteration. Now when I run it again, see what is going to happen. It's keep on printing x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1. Reason? Because x initial value 1, 1 less than equal to 5, condition true. But now x is never incremented. But that means x is always going to remain 1 and 1 is always less than equal to 5. So that is why this is also an infinite loop for us. This scenario is also an infinite loop. And one more situation where it will go for infinite. Look at the other situation, possibility of an infinite loop. So let us say x plus plus. Okay, so here I am saying true. Instead of specifying some condition, I am saying true. So now when I run this, see what is going to happen. I am myself saying the condition is true. I am never changing it to false. I'm never making it as false. So the condition is going to keep on going for me. The loop is going to keep on getting executed for me. So again, a possibility of the infinite loop. So that is what I keep telling you. If my initialization, iteration, condition is not properly defined, then there are chances that your logic is going to be going into an infinite condition or an infinite loop. So this is another thing we have to be very careful whenever we are writing any loops. Okay, so whenever you're writing any loops, you have to be very careful of this also. Right. So guys, simple okay is the for loop okay. Any doubt in this? Just the basics I'm telling you. Once you start doing the programs, definitely you will get to know more about it. So just ping in the chat at least. Let me know any doubts, anything is there. So is there anything that you want me to repeat? Please, guys, message and let me know, is it clear or anything is there? Very good. Okay, ma. Okay, done. Just give me 1 minute. We'll start the next topic again. So, one more topic I wanted to discuss before winding today's session, that is about our jump statements. Okay, about our jump statements. As you know, we have two jump statements that we shall be discussing now. One is break and other one is continue. So these two comes under the jump statement categories. Okay, now as I told you, one more jump statement called return. There is one more jump statement I told you about called return. But we shall be seeing about this return with the concept of our methods. Methods, or you can also call them as functions. So we shall be discussing about this keyword when we were discussing about the methods or the functions concept. So right now we are going to be using these two keywords. One is break, other one is continue. Right, break. And we have already used the break somewhere else also. That is our switch case. So within the switch case also, we have made use of this break. So what is this break going to do? Break is a keyword that is used to take the control outside of the current block. And pass it to the next statement following that block. So please remember what is the break is. Break is a keyword. What is the use of this keyword? It is used to take the program's control outside of the current block. That is inside a switch case I'm using it. Inside a loop I'm using it means it will take the control outside of the loop to the first statement following that block or following that loop. So that is the beauty of my break. Please remember, break cannot be used in all the situations. Break cannot be used in all the situations. You can use the break inside a switch case. You can use the break inside loops. That's all. You cannot use break anywhere else. If you use it, it will throw errors. That is, unless and until you have a switch case or a loop, break statements cannot be used just like that. I'm having a class, I'm writing a function. In that function, I'm writing break. No, it will not allow. If I'm writing an if else condition, inside that if else, without any loop or switch case, I'm just writing if something, else something. Inside that, I'm using a break. No, again, compilation error will occur. So please remember, break is a keyword that can be used only in two places. One is within the switch case, other one is inside of a loop. Now, let me explain you what I meant by this. Right. So now I'm going to take up, okay, let us take a for loop itself. This is my condition. I am saying x value is 1, x less than equal to 1000, x plus plus. Now when I run this, obviously 1000 times the loop is going to run. So from x is 1 to x is 1000. Perfectly, the loop condition is working. Now look at the change I'm going to do here. What is the modification I'm going to be doing here? I am saying if x value is equal to 10, then I am saying break. If x value is equal to 10, break. So what is this going to do? So first time when starting x value is 1. So 1 less than 1000 was less than equal to 1000, condition true. So it is going to come inside. Once it comes inside, what is going to happen? Comparison is done. 1 equal to 10. No, condition is false. So condition is false means it will not go inside this block at all. It will just go here, print the x value. After printing the x value, x plus plus. So x will become 2. Again condition 2 less than equal to 1000. True. Come inside. 2 equal to 10. False. So again go print x is equal to 2. So like this, the condition is going to keep on repeating until it prints x is equal to 9. So after it prints 9, what will happen? It will come here, x plus plus. So x will become 10. X will become 10. Then condition 10 less than equal to 1000. Condition true. Come inside. 10 equal to 10. This condition is also true. Now it will go inside the if block. Once it goes inside the if block, what it says? Break. So break will break out of the loop. Please remember, break will break out of the loop. So once it breaks out of the loop, it is going to come to the next statement following that loop. So what is the next statement I have following the loop? Let me take this. This is the closing of my loop. Once it comes out, what is the next statement I have? Just the closing. So that's all. program ends for me. So normal flow of the program, it will go till 1 to 1000, but I am closing it at 10. See what happens when I run this. Only till 9 it is going to go. So whenever this condition is going to become true, then I am saying break will come out of the loop, and then it will come to the next statement following the loop. The next statement following this loop is just a closing of my main. So the program is getting over. You understand? So this is how the loop will be working. It will take the control out of that current block. That is out of the current block, in the sense out of the loop or my switch case, and pass it to the next statement following the loop. Pass it to the next statement following the loop. So this is how my break is going to be working. Okay, let us try one practical program here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I have already shared you one code, right? Let me take that. Yes. Okay, let us rework on this. So 10 numbers. 10 numbers I'm asking the user to enter. I'm finding the sum. We already did this program. In this, let us add a condition. Let us add one condition. I am saying if x, or sorry, if num is where the number is stored, is less than 0, break. If num value is anywhere given which is lesser than 0, break. See, remember, if you have only one statement, curly braces are optional. So this if is having only one statement, so no need to put the curly braces. It is optional. So if you put also, no problem. If you give like this also, no error. If you don't give also, no error. Right. So now when I run this program, see what will happen. As long as I'm entering positive numbers, program will work perfectly. But once I enter a negative number, program will terminate. Till whatever positive number is there, it will add till that and give me. But once I enter a negative number, it is going to skip it. It is going to close it. Now let me run this. See, enter the number, positive number. Yes, positive number, positive number, positive number. Now let us give a negative number. I'm saying -5. See what happens. As soon as this condition is becoming true, break will take the control out of the loop. So once it comes out of the loop, where it is going to come? To this line. So till whatever it has calculated, it is going to print that as my output. Okay, say for example, let us run it again. This time, first number itself, I'm giving a negative number. See what happens. Total is 0. So this is the purpose of my break, to make the control come out. Okay, so this is an example of the break. How to use my break. Now, see what will happen if I am not using the loop. I'm not using any loops and all. Okay, what I have done, I have simply written some statements like this. X is equal to 20. I am saying if x is greater than 10. Let me cut out this. I'm just going to say x is equal to plus x. Then break. Then I'm saying else. I'm saying x plus plus. Then I'm going to print the x value. Now see what happens here. As soon as I have used the break keyword here, see what is that? It's throwing me a compilation error. See what it says. Break outside switch or loop. That is what I said. Break keyword can be used only within a switch case or within a loop. If both are not there, it is not possible for you to use the break statement. Your program is going to end up throwing compilation errors. So that is another very important point what you should be knowing. So what it says, break outside switch or loop. So it is going to give you a compilation error. That is what is going to be occurring here. Right, so this is the purpose of my break. To stop the loop, I will be using the break. Based on some condition, I will stop the execution of the loop. Now, let us try continue. What is this continue? Okay, break is going to stop the loop means what is continue going to be doing? So continue is a keyword that is used to skip the current iteration. Skip the current iteration and move on to the next one. Skip the current iteration and move on to the next one. And please remember usage. Continue can be used only inside loop. Only inside loops, nowhere else. No switch case, nothing. Only inside loops you can use this continue. So understand what I'm saying? It is used to skip the current iteration and move on to the next one in the sequence. Now, what do you mean by this skip the current iteration? Okay, let us try to understand with an example. I am saying print numbers from, okay, from 1 to 10, skipping 3 and 7. I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10, but I don't want 3 and 7 to be printed. What is the output I'm expecting? 1, 2, 3 I don't want. So 4, 5, 6, 7 I don't want. 8, 9, 10. This is the expected output. I am saying this is how my output should be printed. So those two numbers alone I don't want, but I want everything else, other numbers to be printed. So how to go about this? I can't use break here because break will take me out of the loop. It will not skip anything. So here for this situation, you are going to be using the continue. So same thing, same logic. Let us try. So I am saying for x is equal to 1, x less than equal to 10, x plus plus. This is my condition because I want from 1 to 10. Okay, so before, of course, declare the x value. Now, what is it I'm saying? System.out.println. Let us say x. And I will use only print, not println, because I said expected output to be printed like this in a horizontal way. So I'm using only print and not println. So once I come out of the loop, let me give a new line. And now, when I run this normally, see what happens. 1 to 10, all the numbers are coming, including 3, 7, everything. So now, what is the condition they said? 3 and 7 should not be printed, but remaining numbers should come. 3 and 7 should not be printed means I have to write a condition. So what is the condition I'm saying? If who is maintaining that 1, 2, 3, 4 number? X. So I am saying if x becomes 3, that is if x is equal to 3, or another condition. What is the other condition? If x is equal to 7. If either of this condition, if any one of this condition, see, it is not possible for both the conditions to happen at the same time. X cannot be 3 and 7 at the same time. So give the condition if x is equal to 3 or when x becomes equal to 7. What is it you're saying? Continue. Continue. Continue means what? Skip the current iteration. So it will not go down to this statement at all. It will skip this statement and it will go to the next iteration. That is, it will go for the x plus plus. So see what is going to happen. First time x value is 1. So it is going to say 1 less than equal to 10. Condition true. Condition true. So come inside. X is equal to 3. No. X is equal to 7. No. So don't go into this. Go to the system.out.println. Print the x value. So x is equal to 1. So 1 is printed for me. Now, what will happen? X plus plus. So x will become 2. So 2 less than equal to 10. Condition true. Come inside. Again check this. Not satisfying. Go here. Print the x value. So 2 is getting printed. Again x plus plus. So x will become 3. So 3 less than equal to 10. Condition true. So come inside. So now this condition is satisfied. Remember, or any one condition is satisfied, that is enough for it. So now since this condition is satisfied, it is going to come inside the loop, inside the if condition. Inside the if condition, what I'm saying, continue. So continue will not allow me to go down. It will directly take it to this iteration. So 3 will become 4 because x plus plus. So then the loop will continue like that. See, when I run it, what is the output I get? Other than 3 and 7, all the remaining numbers are getting printed. So whenever you want to skip any iteration and move on to the next one, you will be making use of your continue keyword. Now, let us again reframe the program what we just wrote. That 10 numbers program we wrote, right? Let us reframe that. Now, what did we do over here? If the number is a negative number, break means it is coming out. But remaining numbers, I never got it. Just because one negative number came, up remaining numbers, I'm not getting it at all. So what I'm going to do, instead of break, I am going to say continue. See, that is the only change I am making here. Instead of break, I am saying continue. Now run this program. See what is the difference in the output you are going to get. So enter the first number, give the number, second number, third number, fourth number, I'm going to give a negative number. See what it does. See what it is doing. It is accepting, it is still going. It is a negative number, it will just skip it. Okay, fine, negative, leave it, go to the next one. Then again, go to the next one, negative, skip it, move on. See? Now, let us cross check whether these values are also taken or not. Right, what we do? Instead of outside, print it inside. Print the value inside. Now you run this. See the difference in the output. Now you will understand how continue works. Run this. Okay, enter the number. I'm giving the number as 5. See, total is 5 because 0 plus 5, 5. Again, I'm giving 5. So 5 plus 5, 10. 5. 10 plus 5, 15. Now see, I'm giving minus 85. See what happens. It is not going to go for the total calculation at all. Now, next number, if I say 5, see what it says. This 15 plus this 5, it is skipping this number. It is not going to consider this at all. So next number again, give any negative values. Not taken. Again, I'm giving some negative values. Again, I'm giving some negative values. Now I'm giving another 5. See what happens. With this 20, it is adding this 5. All these 3 values are skipped for me again. So I give 5 again. See? The total is only 30 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Totally, I have given only 6 positive numbers. All the remaining I have given is negative numbers. So negative numbers are skipped and only the positive numbers are counted for me. So this is how my continue statement is going to be working. Okay, 2 very, very important things that I will be making use of in my program is break and continue. Okay, 2 most important things which will help me a lot in my logics. So when I'm going to build the logic, lot of times this is going to help me out in it. So as I said, return We will discuss about the return keyword later. So as I said, when we are going for the concept of functions, at that time, I will tell you more in depth about that keyword.